Wait.
Live. Oh, you broke it.
Yeah, I did it over the trip.
God.
Hang on.
That needs super glue.
Yeah, it happened in the trip.
Oh no.
Hey, welcome to Morning Minutes. My
G'day,
name is
everyone.
Michael Berger, and I'm here with co-host live in person, Mr. Mark Novak. G'day, Nathan. How are you?
Hey, Nate.
This morning we're going to be talking about in uncertain times, people look for certainty in food products, in investments, and everything they're doing. So, what do you want to elaborate a little bit that on probably the investment side, Mark, where what we've seen happen to the share market,
Yep.
and then what we saw in the same week or the same 2-week period, what we've seen in the auction clearance rates. Two totally different outcomes.
It's pretty interesting, because the property market over the weekend, we were all scratching our heads thinking it's really, really strong. It's really, really strong. Then we looked at the stock market the last 2 weeks and thought it's really, really tanking. It's having a really hard time. And we're looking at the parallels between both of those things and sort of asking why. And it's definitely uncertain times where we've gone into a market, guys, where everything is up for grabs. Everything is being questioned. Nothing is for sure. And then if you look at people's nature and what people are actually doing, what human nature is, people are looking for certainty. And the toilet paper thing was a real, for me, that confused me. And I was like, why would consumption be toilet paper? Why would, and if you go through supermarkets, this is a great example. If you go through supermarkets, have a look at what's selling.
Yeah, and it's anything that's certain or long-standing that can be there after 1 week, 1 month, 1 year.
Anything that can be consumed, that's got a strong shelf life, that's definitely going to be usable in the future. Those things are selling well.
Yeah.
So milk, no.
No, and I tell you what, Mark.
Bread, no.
Bread, no. And to go in that, I think the great thing about property is you can't really. It's why it's going strong, and it hasn't had probably the shake-up that the share market has, where it's a lot easier to sell shares. It's very easy. So when you're in that mass panic or hysteria of all the shit that's going on, you can sell it and then everyone sells and it sort of tanks your investment. But with property, it's got that, it's not as easy to sell. It's not I think there's a lot of people with almost share price hangovers where they're like, oh shit, I probably shouldn't have sold. Why'd I sell? Why'd I panic into that? And I think property is quite resilient to that because you can't really sell it overnight. You can't sort of wake up one morning. You've got to get things prepared. So and that where it makes it a lot stronger as well. But what you said this morning, Mark, really resonated. Where it's like, don't focus on being an expert on something that probably won't be here in 3 months or 6 months or 1 week. When you look at SARS, when that epidemic happened, there hasn't been a case since. So a lot of people are taking their focus off their work, off their careers, focusing on this coronavirus, when the reality is, even if you became an expert at it, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with that? So focus on what you can succeed in or what does have an impact to you. If you're an expert at corona, what could you do?
Yep.
But
Yep.
if you take that, if by you focusing on that is taking away from something else, which could be your livelihood, for example.
Definitely, and that consumption or that I think if you and we spoke about it before, it's like doing a degree that you're never going to use. I think the message has been very, very clear of what we've got to be doing with Corona. It's very clear how it's going to affect us. It's very clear what we've got to do. Full stop.
Yeah.
Now, whether you decide to consume the next 8 hours a day. And you probably think you're not doing it, but I reckon most people are. You get up, you listen to a story, you watch the news, you listen to the radio, you Throughout the day, you get a couple of updates at night. You read an article on
Yeah.
it. Like, it's not hard to consume 3 hours of Corona
Yes.
or 6 hours of Corona every day
Yeah.
for the next 7 days or the next 21 days. But I think, Pete, you've got to be really careful in your consumption, because the things that you actually love, the things that you actually need, they're the things where the energy should be going. And I think, I know we're real estate agents, we're always spruiking real estate, but the great thing about real estate is, everyone's heading for the hills and heading home.
Yeah.
Home is more valuable. It's more
Well, you still
definitive.
need a roof over your head. With all this going
Yep.
on, you still need a roof over your head. So
Yep.
that's where there's going to be demand for rental properties. There's going to be demand for for sale properties. Now, Mark, I think for real estate, it will change a little bit, like your in-room auction. A few people may not want to turn up to that, but I still think the function there is there may be more time spent on your virtual tours.
Social media
will be big.
Social media with property will be consumed more than ever.
Yes.
Digital will be consumed more than ever. I
Yes.
think that, for what people's passions are.
And I think we're pretty well positioned for that, because we've been really pushing digital, even though it hasn't been for the purpose of not being able to view the property. It's always been a bit of we want you to, while you're at work, to be able to absorb so much information about that property that
Yep.
it's almost a formality that you come here and go, oh yeah, all the stuff was right. Because when you start seeing, I think there's always a gap in the gap in the industry where you had your professional videos and photos, but then you got reality. And social media, through the videos, the live out there, has really bridged that gap from what a video looks like, what a property looks like,
Yes.
to reality.
Yep.
Which is now going to enable people to rent properties. We've been doing this already, renting properties without people seeing them, based on our live videos. Because we've been doing that for a year.
A long time.
Long time.
But
Because people were busy. But now it's going to be they're busy and they don't want to be exposed to other people as well.
So, guys, if you've just tuned in, what we're talking about is uncertain times, and people are looking for certainty in uncertain times. So it's almost like a little bit of a hack. If we're trying to work out where the direction of a stock is in the stock market, where the direction of property is in the property market, in a supermarket,
Yeah.
what will be consumed and won't be consumed. I think travel has proven that it's not a need or a necessity in these times.
Yes.
So people can actually conferencing and stuff like that, they can pull back on it. But I think food, I think entertainment's an interesting one, because I think consumption for entertainment is probably going to go up, particularly Netflix.
Yes.
Places like that. I think internet.
Yes.
I think that the necessity items are going to just go like that.
Yeah.
And things that we can actually shelf are just going to go like that.
Yeah, but I think it's also, this is a great time if people were a bit like, hesitant on getting on social media or digital. This is now that kick up the butt to do it, or you won't have a business. And I think, like, having chats with just Lee Woodward, where, like, okay, if conferencing is dead, the face-to-face with 1,000 people in a room, like, that was already happening because the people were busy. Now the virus is brought that time frame up a lot quicker. But the demand for that knowledge is still there. The consumption will still be there, but you've got to deliver it in a different way, just like through Open Homes Live